thank you so much for, being open to having a conversation with me about, about you and about where you're at and kind of what's ahead. And, my thought about this whole conversation, Tanya, was really, just almost like talking about the last, since we ended our work together, the last 2 years of, I'm curious to know, like, we can probably just dive right in. Is that okay? Is that okay?
Yeah, great. Absolutely.
Okay. And, in my head, in the last 2 years, you've been almost like, how would I describe it? Maybe like in a bit of struggle. I don't know if that's true or not, because we haven't really talked about it, but, thinking about where things were when we ended, our coaching work together, and you had, I think, an idea of directionally where you want to go, but maybe you just weren't really ready. Is that fair to say?
Yeah. So with the work that we did together, I had clearly defined what I wanted to go do, what the next step was, right?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of team I wanted to work with, the manager I wanted to report into, the work I wanted to do.
Yes.
So that always was in the back of my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Love the company that I work for. And this company was going through a big merger.
Right.
And so there were not any opportunities within my company
at
that time.
Yeah.
And so every time I would kind of identify something, it would never work out because things were on hold or, reassessing the teams. And I got discouraged through that.
Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then when I'd look at postings online at other companies, there was nothing that really was clear in the description of what I wanted, right? And so there's nothing that clicked, basically. So I had a few interviews, but nothing, nothing that excited me, nothing, nothing that worked out. And so I would say that's probably the biggest thing is I got discouraged.
Okay. Okay. And so, what I think is super interesting about that, Tanya, is that you are probably, that place that you were in is probably where tons and tons of other women, are as well, and sometimes stay there for not even 2 years, but 10 years or 15 years. They just kind of sit in that place. And so how do you think that affected you, this, being in this place of feeling discouraged or unsure of what to do?
Well, I mean, like I knew inside of me that I needed to change.
Yeah.
And what happened, I guess the struggle was I became less motivated in the work that I was doing.
Right.
So I didn't have that spark anymore. And even if I had reached out to my manager and my director and I had, voiced that, and he would give me projects and stuff to work on to kind of leverage my skill set and get me excited, it always came back to the same thing, And so it's not what I wanted to do. And I had decided that with you, that is not what I wanted. I'm ready to move on, but I wasn't moving on. And so I wasn't happy in the role. And it has an impact because I'm a people leader. And so it has an impact in the way that I lead, in the way that I manage, and the way that, I interact in my day to day. I was still very productive. I was still working my 60 hours and getting stuff done. But at the end of the day, I wasn't happy. That's kind of what was happening.
For sure. And it reminds me of almost like before we started working together. I think you were in that same headspace, and you're a smart woman. Like, you figure out how to get things done, and you do it.
Yeah.
You do it. But at the same time, I remember then that it was also affecting, you outside of work, and you as a mom, and you being present, and, and as a wife, as a friend, and all of those other areas. Did that happen as well over the last couple of years?
Yeah. It made a huge difference because, little things would set me off that wouldn't, becoming impatient, not realizing, not because something happened, but just, being in that rut, if you will, over a long period of time, took its toll on me.
Yeah.
And, I remember when I signed my offer for the new job, I told my daughter, who's 18, I'm like, you're getting your mom back.
Oh, that's so good.
I feel like, I'm going to be in a much better place, right? My
Yeah,
mood is going to be different.
totally. Oh, that's nice. That's nice. How do you think it affected her? Like hearing.
She smiled.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's nice. You guys got to go out for dinner or hang out or something.
Absolutely. Date nights. I said we're going to start doing date nights now.
Oh, that's good. That's nice. That's nice. So it's almost like it changes not just your professional life, but your whole life overall, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It had taken over just everything. And I let it take over everything. So, shame on me for that.
Right.
Um, but I don't know, like I feel, um, I probably would have done things different. Looking back,
Hmm.
probably would have pushed for a change earlier.
Okay. And what do you think held you back, Tanya?
Um, I had a hard time letting go. I guess
Mm.
I wasn't ready. Like it's just that letting go. I knew,
Yeah.
but I had a hard time letting go and making that, that leap.
Right. Right. Yeah. And I think we all get into that space sometimes in different areas of our life where, almost like there's the push and pull between the desire to have the thing that you want and the fear of, oh my gosh, what if I let go, and what if it doesn't happen, or whatever the thoughts are, but you're like kind of stuck in between those two and maybe just leaning more towards the fear side of it.
Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I let
Awesome.
that get in my head.
Right, right, right. And I'm curious to know, like, what advice would you give yourself now, like looking back, 2 years ago or over the course of the last 2 years, what advice would you give yourself?
Um, I'd give myself the advice of putting myself out there. Just go.
Yeah.
Do it. You want the change, so
Hmm.
just do it.
Hmm.
That's what I would that's the advice that I would give myself, because what inspired this transition, which took place about 6 months ago, was just me interacting with another leader from another business unit, and who randomly asked me, tell me about yourself, what's going on. And I shared with her some of the career changes that I wanted to make, and that stemmed into, well, I think there's something that's really interesting, and there's an opportunity here, let me connect you with that person.
Right.
And that just lit something up in me, and I started connecting with different people. um, but had I not
Hmm.
taken that chance of talking about it,
Right.
that would have never happened.
Right.
And although that opportunity that she talked about didn't work out, it didn't matter, because it created this uh, confidence in me that,
Right.
what, I can do this. And I
Yeah.
guess I needed that at that point.
Oh, so good. That's so awesome. And I think what's beautiful about that is it takes, or all it takes to start it is one conversation.
That's
That's
it.
it.
That's it. And
That's
even if it doesn't work out, it doesn't matter, because it's what you get out of it in the
it.
end. So,
Exactly.
yeah, completely inspired me. And so I felt like I was more on the lookout, and I was connecting more with other people, and I was
Hmm.
talking about,
Hmm.
even with my own team members,
Hmm.
encouraging them to look at their career developments. I was sharing with them some of my aspirations and the
Hmm.
things that I was working towards. And
Good.
so that put something up in me as well,
Yeah.
putting it out there. And it
Yeah.
kept reminding me that, hey, don't forget.
It's true. And I think I say this to people all the time, but like the more you talk about a thing, it's like if the realer, I don't know if that's a word, the more real it becomes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Even if it's not
I
here yet.
feel that's true.
Yeah.
Very true.
Absolutely. And so tell me a bit more about the role that you're going into next. I'm excited to hear some more about that.
So the role is for it's within a group called Performance Analytics Group.
Okay.
And what we do is we enable the sales team using data.
You don't even have to
So
tell me anymore, Tanya, like that. That's just you.
exactly. I'm so excited. I think my new manager is more nervous about me transitioning than I am. I spoke to him yesterday, and I said, it doesn't matter what segment you give me or what team I will support. Like, I'm just really excited about moving to this team and learning something different,
Mm,
and doing that every day,
right. Yeah,
all
yeah,
day, right?
yeah.
So Yeah, it's a perfect fit.
It is. It is. And I know one of the things that we had worked on at that time was your strengths, and really trying to help you to see, I think, and I think you got there from what I remember, that the role that you were in wasn't really aligned to your strengths. And I think this one, from what I understand of the job, is very much so.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So
Cool.
more analytical, more problem solving,
Hmm.
more operation.
Operations. Yeah.
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 Yeah. So
Awesome. So
totally.
good. That's so good. And so what do you think you would do differently, or would you do anything differently, like to manage your career from this point onwards, thinking about where you are today?
So if I had to go through it again, like let's say, I'm a couple of years down and I'm ready for a change from this role on
Yeah.
to the next,
Yeah.
I would be more take charge. Like I
Mm-hmm.
would trust the process,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Take the step, right?
take the step.
Yeah, you never know where it's gonna. Who even knew that that one conversation you had could turn into to this? And what's interesting too is that once you start the wheel turning, it really doesn't take that long,
No,
for
it
it to come to life. It really doesn't take that long. Once your mind is in the right place, you start taking even what seems like little actions, Tanya. They may not seem, like you're changing the world from today to tomorrow, but all those little steps add up to something bigger. And
yeah,
before you know it, the thing that you want is here.
exactly. And like when I had that conversation with the leader at the beginning,
Hmm.
she put me in touch with someone for another position and it didn't work out,
Right.
right? But in the end, it didn't matter
Yeah.
because there's something else there, right? So
Mhm.
if I would have had that fear and not have taken a chance,
Mhm.
and I would have missed out on that.
Totally.
Even if it didn't work out in the end, it didn't matter.
Right.
It didn't matter that it didn't work out.
Absolutely.
So what it gave me in return is just much more than not getting that role. So,
Yay, so good. And I think we believe that what's to happen, what's meant to happen will happen.
yeah,
Right. And so maybe that wasn't the right role or the right time or whatever the case may be. And this is, everything has aligned, and now is the time.
yeah.
So time to talk.
It just reinforced what I wanted, and
Yeah.
that I was in the right direction, and
Yeah.
so I was making the right connections. And interestingly enough, like I had spoken to my director about it, and it turns out he was my biggest advocate.
Really.
Yeah.
Oh, so cool.
And he really helped me through the whole process of connecting with the leaders afterwards, and
Mhm.
putting his thoughts about me and how I could contribute and be valuable to another business unit. So I'm very thankful for that.
Yay, that's so good. And that's I think another really good point. As you're talking, I'm kind of in my head making a list of the things that you did that really made this work and made this come to life for you. And it sounds like making your desires known to people who could help influence that situation coming to life for you is one of the big pieces as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
being honest about it, right? And being honest about what the next steps are. And
Right. Right. And that's one piece of the puzzle. And, just starting to talk about it more. And the more you talk about it, the clearer you get as well of what it is that you want, what direction you want to go. And I think that sounds like another big piece of your puzzle of how you got to this place of success. And I think as well, I'm hearing, this idea of just putting yourself out there, reaching out to someone and you have no idea, they don't know who you are, you
yeah,
know who they are, and that's something that's really outside of your comfort zone as a person.
absolutely. Yeah.
How did you feel when you were about to hit send?
I was so nervous. Well, sending an email is one thing. That's easy,
Right,
right? Because
right,
you
right.
can word it the way you want it, delete, rewrite. But when he was like, "Sure, absolutely, let's get on a call," it was like getting on the call. I was so nervous. Oh my goodness. Um, our personalities are very similar, and so he's very calm, a calm energy, not
Yeah,
aggressive, just very personable, and so he was easy to talk to.
Right. Good. Good. I could only imagine. I could envision you going into that conversation, and just how, like, you know, like you'd be a ball of nerves. I can totally see it.
And even more so when he's like, "I want you to talk to my VP," and I was like, "Okay."
But you did it. You did it. You felt the fear and you just did it anyways. And so how do you feel? How do you feel now that it's all come to life?
I feel amazing. I feel like a big weight has been lifted off my shoulders. Just because I knew that it's what I wanted, and now I'm finally getting to that goal, you know.
Yeah. So good.
Like running the marathon and, you know, getting to the finish line. It's been a hard run.
Yeah.
But it's well worth it.
Yeah. And did you do anything to kind of keep yourself motivated during, you know, during the 2-year period, or how did you manage during that time?
You know what I did? I started taking some trainings that were around that. So kind of building my skill set, if you will.
Yeah.
So I did do that. But that was pretty much it. Like I'd look here and there, but I was held back.
Yeah, for sure. Just eventually the switch needed to flip, right? Yeah. So cool. Yeah. Awesome. Well, here's what I would say, Tanya, is that, you know, I've always known you had it in you. It was just a matter of you, you know, being the right time for you personally. And that, you know, that's something that only you can manage and only you can control. So I'm super, super excited. I know it's been a bit of time since we worked together, but I feel like I was part of the journey, and I'm super.
Your voice was in the back of my mind all the time.
I'm glad that I could, you know, be a support, and, you know, you just keep doing what you've been doing. Like it's working. You look amazing. You sound amazing. You're happy. You know, life is shifting in a new direction. So, you know, just keep riding the wave, girl.
Thank you so much. Thank you for everything.
Yeah, you're so welcome. You're so welcome. It's my pleasure, and it's always fun for me to. I feel like I get even more excited than you do, because it's just I love it. I love seeing, you know, someone step into something that fits and that's right, and, you know, step out of the thing that just doesn't match, and it's causing you stress, and, you know, someone's not sleeping well, or your relationship's impacted, or whatever it is. There's no point in that. You know, there's no point. Life is short, you know, let's get on with it.
Yeah.
Get on.
And something that you did really well. I mean, we could have gone through, you know, just redoing my resume, or just talking about what to go through in an interview. And that's the work that we did together. But I think the pre-work is what was the most important part.
Yeah.
For me anyways. And I said it before, but it was like being really clear. And that was important to you when we started. Let's get clear first, and then we'll worry about the next steps after. And had I not done that, I don't know that I would have, you know, gotten to where I am.
Yeah.
So that piece of it was really important.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the piece that really stayed with you all this time, right? Yeah, that's the piece that stayed with you, is you always knew whenever the timing was for it to happen would unfold, but that knowing of that clarity, it sounds like never actually went away.
No.
Yeah.
It was always there. And, you know, before I always felt like I was, you know, a square peg trying to fit in a round hole, and now I feel like it's the fit.
The square peg, square hole.
Right? Exactly.
Awesome. That's so good. So good. I love it. Yeah. Awesome. Well, is there anything else that you might want to share about your experience, or about what you've learned that might help inspire someone else? Like, you know, like we talked about at the beginning, there's tons of people out there, Tanya, women, moms, you know, who are in exactly the same space of feeling discouraged, wanting something different, but don't have the courage or the support or whatever it is to move forward. So what would you tell them if they asked you for advice?
It's the hardest thing, but I would say, you know, if you're thinking about it, then something's telling you that it's time.
Yeah.
So just do it and see what comes out, and just trust the process and see what comes out of it. You have nothing to lose, everything to gain.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. Look at you giving people advice now. I don't know who you think you are.
I got this, Cindy. I'm your backup. I'm your backup.
100%. I'm like, go talk to Tanya. That's so good. Yeah, it's so good. Well, thank you so much, Tanya, for talking to me and sharing your story and what you've been through. Keep me posted, okay?
I will. Thank you, Cindy.
Okay, talk to you soon. Take care. All right, bye.